So the evaporator is usually located after the expansion valve or before the compressor. So its main function is to absorb heat from the indoor air, and warm air from the room passes over the evaporator coil or inside the coil, and the refrigerant is at low pressure and low temperature. As the warm air flows over the coil, the refrigerant absorbs the heat and evaporates from liquid to gas, and at the same time, the air leaving the evaporator becomes cooler and dehumidified, and this cool air is supplied back into the industrial space. The compressor is considered the heart of the air conditioning system. It is usually located between the evaporator and the condenser. Its function is to compress the low-pressure refrigerant that's coming from the evaporator into a high-pressure, high-temperature. This is by increasing the pressure, the compressor allows the refrigerant to flow through the system and release heat in the condenser. The expansion valve controls how much refrigerant enters the evaporator by reducing its pressure, and this pressure drops makes the refrigerant cold and allowing it to absorb heat and produce cooling. The condenser is usually outside the building for air-cooled type, and also in a plant room for water-cooled type, or connected to cooling towers, which is large industrial system. Its function is to release heat from refrigerant to the surrounding air. The high-pressure, the high-temperature refrigerant gas from the compressor enters the condenser coil. As the air flows over the condenser, the refrigerant loses heat and changes from gas to liquid, and this process is called the condensation, and it prepares the refrigerant to return to the evaporator.
Okay, now I will talk about the workflow of chiller system. This chiller system, which is using gas 404A, which is safely to use indoor and non-flammable and low toxicity. Next, this system is using cooling tower to remove the heat outside, and also add on water to help to cooling the system. The water will running through at the condenser. And wait a minute, let's talk about the water system through the condenser, which is it is to help the heat exchanger, which is help more to remove heat at the condenser. Okay, now is the process of the cooling system, which is this is the compressor, which is have two compressor, and it have cut-off system to stop the flow when the temperature is reaching the requirement. Okay, from the compressor it will go running through the condenser to remove the heat, then it will go through the expansion valve to control the refrigerant flow rate in the system. After that, the refrigerant with cool condition will be running through in the evaporator and will be sent to the heat exchanger plate in the blower system. For the airflow system, will be blow by blower, which is take air from outside, running through the intake and go through the filter in this part, and then beside the filter it has heat exchanger plate to cool the air, and then will be suction in the blower to be pumped and to be blow through to the indoor space and blow out from the muffler.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. For my part, I will explain the maintenance of a marine refrigeration and air conditioning system used on board ship, focusing on the compressor, condenser, evaporator and expansion valve. First, the compressor should be checked for proper oil level, abnormal noise, vibration and refrigerant or oil leakage. Operating pressure must be monitored to ensure safe and efficient performance. Next, the condenser, which is usually seawater cooled, must be cleaned regularly to remove marine fouling and scale from the tube. The seawater strainer should also be cleaned to maintain proper cooling water flow and prevent high condensing pressure. Then, the evaporator coil should be kept clean and free from dust, salt deposit and ice build-up. The defrost system and drainage line should be checked to avoid ice formation and water flow. Finally, the expansion valve should be inspected for blockage, leakage and correct superheat setting to ensure proper refrigerant flow. In conclusion, regular maintenance ensure reliable operation, energy efficiency and safe condition on board the ship.